Coming to the inferior constrictor muscle. Inferior constrictor muscle. Inferior constrictor has got two portions again. So now this is the hyoid bone, lesser cornu, greater cornu, hyoid bone. Middle constrictor has already taken the origin. Below this you find the thyroid cartilage. Beneath the thyroid cartilage is cricoid cartilage. Then comes the trachea. Lower border of cricoid cartilage is trachea. Then behind the trachea is same at the lower border. You do find the esophagus. The pharynx is above, where it continues at the lower border of cricoid cartilage. And in between hyoid bone and thyroid cartilage, you find thyrohyoid membrane. Okay. So these are the important structures you should know for the origin. This is hyoid bone, thyrohyoid membrane, thyroid cartilage, then ligament, cricothyroid ligament, and this is cricoid cartilage, trachea, this is esophagus. Okay, so those are the structures which are present in the anterior portion of the anterior part of the anterior portion. Now the pharyngeal raphe, I have told you, extending from base of the skull, continues with posterior portion of the mandible. Okay, so that is pharyngeal raphe. Now the middle constrictor has already taken origin from upper border of greater cornu of the hyoid bone and lesser cornu, all those things. That is middle constrictor. Inferior constrictor takes origin from the thyroid cartilage and cricoid cartilage. So it has got two portions, thyropharyngeus and cricopharyngeus. So this takes origin from interdigitate with middle constrictor, and it has both origin from the, this is cricothyroid portion, where it takes origin from cricoid cartilage and continues with esophagus, and this is thyrohyoid portion. And this is the esophagus. So this is cricoid pharyngeus part, and this is thyropharyngeus part of inferior constrictor. So this is thyropharyngeus part of inferior constrictor muscle. This is cricopharyngeus part of inferior constrictor muscle. So inferior constrictor muscle, and this is middle constrictor. Okay, there is a gap here, you can see very nicely, you can see the gap between. There are, I told you for first only, there are so many important structure pass between the gaps of these pharyngeal muscles. So this is esophagus. So pharyngobasilar fascia continues with posterior aspect of esophagus. This is middle constrictor, and this is thyropharyngeus portion of inferior constrictor, and this is cricopharyngeus. In between the two, there is a small gap. This you call it as Killen's dehiscence. Killen's dehiscence. So this is inferior constrictor muscle origin, and again it is inserted into the pharyngeal raphe. So that is individually the three constrictor muscles. Now we need to know a bigger diagram where you should know the important structures which pass beneath or which passes in between the constrictor muscles. So I need to draw a bigger diagram. So you can just see starting from the base of the skull. So this is base of the skull, and this is the styloid process, then medial pterygoid plate and humulus. Beneath it you find the mandible. Beneath the mandible you find hyoid bone. Beneath the hyoid bone you find the thyroid cartilage, cricoid cartilage, trachea, and pterygomandibular raphe, then thyroid membrane, this is the esophagus behind the trachea, the pharyngobasilar fascia extending down and merging with esophagus. Superior constrictor muscle, superior constrictor. Then this is stylohyoid ligament. Then you have my line here, middle constrictor. And inferior constrictor. Three constrictor muscles. So mandible, mylohyoid muscle, hyoid bone, thyrohyoid membrane, thyroid cartilage, cricothyroid ligament, cricoid cartilage, trachea, esophagus. Okay, so this is superior constrictor, middle constrictor, inferior constrictor. Okay, so the gaps I have given: number 1 here, then base of the skull, then between superior and middle constrictor, between middle and inferior constrictor, and below inferior constrictor. I have told you already, between the skull base and superior constrictor, you do find auditory tube, so between those two you do find the auditory tube and levator palatal muscle. Levator palatal muscle, then palatine branch of ascending palatine branch of ascending palatine artery. Number 2, between middle and inferior constrictor, between superior and middle constrictor. Here, what are the structures which pass through? Between superior and middle constrictor, you do find a very important muscle here. This muscle, you call it as stylopharyngeus. Stylopharyngeus is hooked or wound round by glossopharyngeal nerve. This is glossopharyngeal nerve. So, between superior and middle constrictors. Stylopharyngeus muscle, 9th cranial nerve, glossopharyngeal nerve. Stylopharyngeus and glossopharyngeal nerve between superior constrictor and middle constrictor. Now, this is between middle and inferior constrictor. This is number 3, between middle constrictor and inferior constrictor. Between these two, you do find an artery and a vein which pierces the thyroid membrane. The artery is superior laryngeal artery. The nerve is internal laryngeal nerve. Between middle constrictor and inferior constrictor is superior laryngeal artery, internal laryngeal nerve. piercing thyroid membrane. And beneath the inferior constrictor here, number 4. Inferior constrictor, you find again one artery and one nerve. So the artery and one nerve. So that goes between trachea and esophagus. One artery and one nerve. What is artery? Artery is, here it is superior laryngeal artery. So this will be inferior laryngeal artery. Inferior laryngeal artery and recurrent laryngeal nerve. So these are the important structures which run between the constrictor muscles. So now you have known the individual origin of all the 3 constrictor muscles, the structures which pass between the 3 constrictor muscles. Very important question. So this is base of the skull, then this is the medial pterygoid plate, mandible, hyoid bone, thyroid cartilage, cricoid cartilage and trachea. So pharyngeal raphe, styloid process, important thing you should write. Between these two, auditory tube and levator palatal with artery. Between superior and middle constrictor, stylopharyngeus muscle and glossopharyngeal nerve both arise from third pharyngeal arch, the muscle and nerve of third pharyngeal arch developmentally. Between middle constrictor and inferior constrictor, you do find superior laryngeal artery and internal laryngeal nerve which pierces the thyroid membrane, supplies the laryngeal wall. And below the inferior constrictor, you do find inferior laryngeal artery, recurrent laryngeal nerve branch from vagus which run between trachea and esophagus. So these are important structures between the constrictor muscles, and this is origin of inferior constrictor.